I realized too late the hoofprints weren't all coming from my mare. Winter rides were my favorite because the stable emptied out. No lessons, no laughing kids, no trucks coming and going, just the barn's warm breath and the steady comfort of routine. Brush the coat until it shines, pick the hooves, tighten the girth one more hole because leather shrinks in the cold. Mara stood for me like she always did, iron gray, patient, watching with those dark eyes that made me feel evaluated. When I swung into the saddle, she shifted her weight as if she'd been waiting for the excuse to move. Outside, the world was white and muffled. Snow squeaked under her shoes. My own breathing sounded too loud inside my scarf. We headed down the perimeter trail where the trees pressed in close and the wind couldn't find you. That's what I told myself anyway. 10 minutes in, I noticed a second track line beside ours. Fresh hoofprints, crisp at the edges, not deer, too round, not old, no drifted powder inside them. They ran parallel to Mara's steps as if another horse had gone out right before us, but the parking lot had been empty, and the barn, too. I slowed Mara to a walk. The second line of prints tightened closer. I leaned and looked into the trees. Bare branches, dark trunks, nothing moving, no birds, no little snaps of twigs. The woods were quiet in a way that felt deliberate. Mara's ears stayed forward, rigid. Easy, I murmured, more habit than comfort. We kept going. The trail narrowed between pines, snow deeper here, footing soft. Mara placed her hooves carefully, but her back tightened under the saddle. Then I saw it. Where the snow was packed by her step, there was a smaller imprint pressed neatly into the center, inside her hoofprint. Then another, and another. Like something was stepping exactly where she stepped, but lighter, careful, trying not to leave its own evidence. I pulled her to a stop. Mara stopped instantly, but she trembled, just a fine vibration you'd miss if you didn't know her. She blew out a hard breath, and the sound fogged the air in front of us. Behind my shoulder, something else fogged the air too, a soft puff. Close. My stomach went cold. I didn't turn. Turning felt like agreeing that something was there. I asked Mara forward with my legs. She refused, one stubborn half-step, then planted. From somewhere to the left came a slow, rhythmic sound. Hoof against wood. Not a branch snapping, not ice shifting. A hoof, testing something solid. I turned Mara around. Not fast. Fast makes horses slip. Controlled, reasonable, the kind of decision you make before you can't. She went, but not willingly. Her walk was too quick, shoulders tight, head high. I kept my hands low on the reins, speaking nonsense under my breath. Good girl, that's it. Almost back. The snow under us was a book I didn't want to read. Every time I glanced down, those smaller impressions stayed centered inside Mara's prints, perfectly aligned, as if the thing behind us knew her stride. The scrape sounded again, closer. Mara broke into a trot on her own. I let her. The trees blurred at the edges of my vision. Cold air burned my throat. Ahead, the woods thinned, and the stable road should have appeared. Dark gravel, a familiar bend, the gate. We burst out of the tree line, and I stopped breathing. The road was there, yes. The gate was there. The barn sat in the distance like a dark block against the snow. But the snow between us and the trailhead, where our hoofprints should have been obvious, was smooth, untouched, like we hadn't ridden out at all. Mara pranced in place, confused, snorting. I stared back at the mouth of the trail, trying to force the world to make sense. Our track line ended at the trees, as if someone had erased everything beyond that point. In the clean snow at the trail entrance, a single hoofprint formed. Slowly, deliberately. Then another, inside the first, smaller, centered. Then another, coming out of the woods alone. Mara spun, and I didn't fight her. She bolted for the barn with a certainty that felt like survival, like something older than training. I clung to her mane, eyes watering in the cold. We hit the yard. I slid off too fast, boots skidding. My fingers fumbled the stall latch. Mara shoved past me, and I slammed the door behind her, throwing the bolt home. The barn should have felt safe. It didn't. It smelled freshly used. Warm hay, horse sweat, leather, like a dozen riders had just passed through. But the aisle was empty. The other stalls were shut. No voices, no radios, no movement. Then, from the big doors at the far end, came that sound again. Hoof on wood. Slow. Patient. Like something outside was learning exactly where the latch was.